You may have heard that when it comes to manifestation, the very most fundamental and most important thing to do to materialize and manifest the thing that you desire is to believe. Understanding the power of belief is pivotal. It is imperative along this journey of materialization, along this journey of recognizing that you are the master of your reality, that you are a master creator, you are a master at manifestation and materialization. You just simply forgot how to do it. So it seems like things are just kind of happening randomly, but they're always happening as a result of what you believe. Now, I'm going to break down believing, and exactly how it works, because you hear it all the time, but you never really quite get the breakdown, the blueprint, exactly what does it mean to believe? Okay. Now I'm going to give you a practical lesson, a practical understanding as to what it means to believe. Now, the first thing we got to do is we got to always get into the universal laws of the contrasts, right? Some people would say the opposites: up, down, left, right, consciousness, ego, okay, hot, cold, the sun, the moon. Everything has quote unquote a opposite. But really what it is to me is the other side of a spectrum. Okay. Things fluctuate between two sides of a spectrum. And that entire spectrum is basically the essence of that thing, that element. Okay. So when we get into belief, what I want us to consider and think about is the two elements of who you are on this realm and in this plane, right? You consist of the spirit, okay, and the physical body, okay? Now, the spirit can be looked at as consciousness, right? The physical body can also be looked at as ego, okay? These are the purest forms of who you are, okay? Consciousness is the absolute essence, core, without a doubt, no matter what happens, no matter what realm, what reality you choose. Consciousness is the thing that represents oneness, okay? So essentially, we're talking about these two elements, all right? Always consider those things whenever you deal in spirituality, whenever you deal in manifestation, okay? So what we're going to do here is we're going to look at the word believe. And this is something that dawned on me and probably has dawned on you as well. I've heard different variations of this, more of a pessimistic concept of this as a response to how I broke this word down. We're going to break this down into essentially two words: be, and then we're going to take the E out. Okay. Let's bring the E down here. All right. And so essentially we have be and live. Okay. Be and lived. So when it comes to believing, all right, to believe something, the power of believing, what we're talking about is the balance, the combination of those two contrasts essentially in harmony. This is what balance means. So the being is essentially how you think. It is essentially your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, right? Those things are in alignment. So it's just essentially how you thinking. It starts with the conscious mind first, right? Subconscious mind second. The conscious mind is a thing that you are using to analyze. You are looking at your life. You're looking at the things that you desire. You're looking at how you feel, and you're recognizing something is off here. This isn't in alignment with who I am. This isn't what I desire, what I truly want. And so then you start looking into how you can make the changes, right? You start to learn things. You start to read. You start to contemplate, meditate, take walks in nature, really getting to practicing self-awareness. You may start to read books. You may start to look at videos, listen to podcasts, what have you, attend lectures, things of that nature to expand your thinking. Okay. And so the conscious mind is the part of your mind, though it is consistent of probably about 5 to 10% of your entire mind, right? Your mind, your mental capacity. It is still very powerful because it is like the tip of the spear. Okay. This is your conscious mind, and you are looking to hit a certain target. And the interesting thing is when we talk about the word sin actually means to miss the mark. Now, how are we thinking in terms of the target that we're wanting to hit? We have to use our conscious mind to aim the rest of this spear. This is, okay, we got conscious mind. And the rest of this here is sometimes I can't write. Subconscious mind. Okay. So we have the conscious mind representing the tip of the spear. We have the subconscious mind representing everything else. All right. That spear is looking to reach a target. You have to be mindful and intentional about where you are going. So that way the subconscious mind will follow. Okay. The subconscious mind consists of 95 to 90% of your mental capacity for the most part. Okay. Give or take some, percentages here and there. But ultimately, your subconscious mind is responsible for the direction of everything else. I'm sorry, your conscious mind is responsible for the direction of everything else. Your subconscious mind basically is the weight, is the power. Okay. So understand that when it comes to believing in what it is that you desire, you have to recognize that the B, okay, in believing represents essentially the mind and your thoughts. You can also incorporate, nope, we're going to say that, okay? Your mind and your thoughts, okay? That is the B. That is how you are thinking day in, day out. How many times you are thinking about that thing that you desire? How many times are you intentionally working, educating yourself, being intentional about how you speak, what you say, your environment, the people around you, okay? Now, live how you live is essentially, let's bring this down a little bit further, okay? Because this part is very important. How you live is essentially, we talked about this being spirit, right? Living is the physical. This is your body, essentially, okay? But essentially, this is what you are doing. These are the activities you're partaking in, okay? These are the habits, the rituals. Essentially, it looks like whatever you're doing with your physical body, essentially, is how you are living. So, to believe, okay, remember, believing in it creates it, materializes it, makes it real, makes it manifest, makes it materialize. You are being it, meaning you are thinking. Your mind is aligned with that desire. Your thoughts are in alignment with that desire. And so you're being it in your mind, and then you are living it with your physical body. So you are doing the things, okay? You are, if it is, say, physical fitness, all right, you are being at a space where you are educating yourself, you are thinking about your physical fitness, you're thinking about your intake, your calories, your output, and then here, how you live, right? You are mindful about what you eat, okay? Your activity, your activities, okay? So the being is the thought, right? Whatever you conceive of, you can achieve, but you can achieve it through actually putting in the work. Lots of time, discipline is where we think about this the most when it comes to living, but it really always starts with the mind. Okay. You are being the person. You are thinking through, you are aligning your thoughts with the desire that you want, with the materialization of the thing. Okay. And then you are living it. You are putting in the physical action, the work. You are doing it every single day. In the beginning, it takes time. It's a little rough. You may even feel like you're pretending, you're lying to yourself. That's another thing somebody said was believing means be lie. That's what they came up with. I said, wow, that's very disempowering mindset and a way to look at it. That's not how we want to approach life. Life is abundant. Okay. You are here. If the game is rigged, it is rigged for you to win, not to lose. So get your mindset out of a space where you think that the universe is out to get you, or you think that the world is out to get you, or you think that people can't be trusted, or, things are going to go wrong. That is because you are believing that. You are in a mindset where your mind and your thoughts only think the negative. Then guess what? Your body and how you live is going to follow how your mind is thinking. And so when we're talking about manifestation, you have to recognize manifestation, of course, are for the things that you desire. So you must be and you must live in according to that desire for it to materialize. You see, living isn't always physical. It isn't always, having to go out there and hustle and work hard. This is just to give you a general idea of what it means to believe in order to materialize something that you desire. Now, let's get into what this E represents, because I know you've been looking, I know you've been wondering, okay, be, live, I understand, but what about the E? What does the E mean? The E is very important and something that you must not forget along this. The E stands for emotions, okay? You live and you are making sure that you are engaged in and connected with your emotions. Your emotions are very important. The emotions are the fuel, okay? The emotions are the momentum and the power behind the spear, okay? It is the power that you throw to get that spear to the target, all right? So you have to be mindful about your emotions. Now, emotions essentially is energy in motion, okay? Your emotions are essentially energy. Now, the energy has different characteristics, different qualities to it. Why? Because there are different things that you can do with those kinds of emotions. You see, not all emotions are the same, especially depending on who you are and how you was brought up. Okay, you could be somebody who was brought up in an environment where emotions were somewhat negative, triggering, right? Traumatic emotions, right? But those things could be used toward materializing and hitting that target. You just simply have to recognize that those negative emotions, though they can be productive toward you getting or moving toward a certain direction, they are not sustainable. You don't want to maintain a state of feeling negative emotions. They're very draining. They're heavy. They're going to weigh you down. They're going to essentially stop you in your tracks. They may ironically cause the momentum, but they will also dampen and stop the momentum. So you have to be mindful about the emotions that you're feeling. The emotions are essentially, they are few, okay? They are going to, again, like I said, add to the momentum, the velocity, the power of you materializing that which you desire. But you must believe, you must be, you must live, and you must be in alignment with your emotions. When you are in alignment with your emotions, you get to add adequate energy, right? You channel that energy in a way that you direct it empoweringly, but more productively toward that thing that you want. So you have to understand that your emotions, they essentially come, you can use them in two ways, right? Your emotions, let's do this. Let's get rid of this and let's put the E up here. Okay. So the emotions are used in two ways. They are used as, let's see, power, but they are also used as a signal. Okay. Now, sometimes, most times, when we feel emotions, we are triggered, we are inspired, we are engaged, stimulated to feel these emotions. That is when the emotions are used as a signal. They tell you where you are based on whatever the trigger was, whatever the stimulation was. And that will give you some insight as to what you're going through and how you're processing certain things in the moment. Okay. So sometimes you can have, say, if you are looking to materialize your dream business, okay, your dream car, the love of your life, and there's an opportunity, something happens, okay, that doesn't quite align with what you think or what you desire to happen along this journey of materializing. In other words, it looks like you may not get it, or you had it and then something is going wrong, right? And so you feel a sense of, anger, frustration, right? You even feel annoyed, right? Now, these can be a sign that there is an imbalance going on within you, because whenever you have these kinds of emotions, that means you're not connected or dialed in to consciousness. Okay. These emotions are more associated with the ego than they are consciousness. So you have to recognize that, okay, if I'm feeling these emotions, though, yes, it's fair to experience a little bit of, disappointment, to feel a little bit like, that was such a good thing. I had a good time, but apparently it looked like it may not work out in the way that I desired it to do so. Well, when you experience these emotions, you have to recognize that they're coming from the ego. And you have to recognize that if they're coming from the ego, that there is an imbalance. Now, when you are at a space where you're feeling like, you're focused, you're dialed in, you're like, listen, I'm going to start this business. I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to be, proactive. And is rooted in a space where you're trying to maybe prove people wrong because people are telling you can't do it. People are not backing you up enough, right? People are not honoring and respecting your ideas. People are telling you that it's a stupid idea, but you're still determined and you still feel like something in or about this is meant for you to do it. It's part of your purpose and you got to move forward with it. And so, yeah, you still may feel, anger, right? You still may feel frustration. Okay. But that is used in a way that is intentional, as far as making a breakthrough in your life. Okay. You're saying to yourself, you know what? I am frustrated with the life that I have. I am unhappy. I want to make changes. I am angry. I am angry about worrying about bills. I am angry about, worrying about how I'm going to provide for my family. And so I need to make a change. This is where those emotions can actually be used to get the momentum going. But you always have to recognize that these negative emotions are not sustainable. The only sustainable emotions are things like love, joy, passion. You see what I mean? These are things that are going to sustain you in the long run. They're going to continue to keep going. These are emotions that never burn out. If anything, they even grow. Because when you get to a point of, you made your breakthrough, okay? You've reached your $100,000 a year or $1 million a year. And you did so on the emotions of the fuel of the negativity because you were trying to prove a point. You were angry. You're tired of being broke, da-da-da-da-da. All right. Now you've gotten past that. In order for you to keep going, you got to dial into the emotions of gratitude, the emotions of joy, the emotions of happiness, right? These emotions, these are the emotions of consciousness. So when you recognize these emotions and you dial into these emotions, then you get to a point where, okay, cool. I don't have to worry about making money to cover my bills or survival. But now I can make money or I can create businesses simply out of passion, contribution, making a difference in people's lives. That is more sustainable, you see? So understand that the power of believing is rooted in being connected and being balanced with your spirit, with your mind, with your thoughts, and then with what you do, right? What you do with those thoughts, what you do with those, feelings and emotions, how you channel that. So you have to understand that when we look at certain words and we hear these words a lot, especially in the metaphysical and the spiritual community, we have to dissect those words and we have to understand the power of those words because words have power. They're not just a means of communication. So when you really look at these words and you're like, believe, what does that mean exactly? People say to believe, people say to visualize, people say to imagine. But I think believe is more of a powerful, more of a insightful, more of a connected word, And then as I looked at the word, all I kept seeing in the word believe, right, is be and live. Be this and live this. That's all I kept seeing in my head. Be it, live it. Be it, live it. Be it, live it. And so that's when I recognized the power and exactly what it means to believe in yourself, to believe that you are meant for that which you desire. You have to, it's not simply just a matter of using your imagination and visualization and just kind of hoping, doing your affirmations. Those are all powerful, impactful tools, but those are tools to support you in believing, in being it and living it. And then once you do that, then that's when you match the frequency, okay? You match the frequency of your future self. Because eventually, though, the being is something that you have to do intentionally, right? You have to be mindful. You have to be checking in with yourself. How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? If you're feeling like, then you have to be mindful about your thoughts. You say, oh, you know what? I need to be thinking positive thoughts. I need to be thinking thoughts that are in alignment with the thing that I desire, as if It is, because it is in my mind. And if it is in my mind, that is the most spiritual, the most powerful realm that exists in all of the universe. Then if I can have it here in my mind as I'm visualizing it, then of course, more certainly, I can create it in this physical form, because the physical form follows the spiritual and the mental vision. So if I continue to be consistent with the conversation I'm having in my mind about that which I desire, regardless of what it is that I'm experiencing right now in this physical form, recognizing this physical form is just a byproduct, an echo of the past self. But now you're dialed into your future self, the self that has it all. And so your thoughts are in alignment with that, with those things. And so you are consistently making sure you are thinking in alignment with that desire. And then as you continue to think it, your body has to follow your mind. Your body is a prime example of how the universe follows your thoughts. Your body doesn't move unless you think it, right? So it's an example of how the universe also responds to you. Remember that your body is a microcosm of the universe. It is a mirror of the universe. So when you think it, your body does it. The same thing applies to the universe. So you have to recognize your thoughts are the number one thing. Then you express it through your body and how you're living. And then the universe materializes it. All right. So this is the power and the understanding of what it means to believe. All right. Channel your emotions and always be mindful about those emotions. Do not let them control you. Okay. Manage your emotions, direct them. Remember, they are the fuel. They are the thing that you're going to use. They are your tools. All of these are simply tools at your discretion available to you to get to the desire. All right. You'll understand that when you buy the Future Self Frequency and also purchase the My Future Self Journal. All right. If you have any questions about this, feel free to leave the question in the comments below. Thank you so much. I really want this to help you, in all my video, all my content, to help you to just think differently and to expand your mind about recognizing that everything that you desire is there. The version of you that has it all exists and is waiting for you to become it. Thanks so much. Peace and abundance always.